chronological order or what?
Call this Board of Supervisors meeting for May 23rd to order. Ms. Branch, will you call the roll, please?
Here. 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 Here.
Here. If you could please stand for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Does anyone have any special recognition this evening? Join in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an amended agenda this evening, gentlemen. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
Adoption of the amendment agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Ms. Branch?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we come to the public comment period. We have several public hearings this evening, but this is an opportunity for the public to come up and talk about anything they'd like for 3 minutes for individual, 5 minutes for any group. And is anyone signed up on online? Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public comment period.
Good evening. My name is Peter Mason. Our property is located 392, Roanoke Trail. Just had a couple of minutes to say a few things about the latest developments in our neighborhood with the Zebulon Grotto property. We have been informed and see that the notice is up that there's a conditional use permit application in process for Mr. Sneed to make some, we've heard that it's a campground, or make some change. And you know, I know that the county has to go through the proper regulations and go through the proper steps, but I'm befuddled at why we're even entertaining a conditional use permit on a property that has so many violations of both zoning and building codes and all sorts of things that have not been remedied as far as I know, unless the county has reached some sort of legal settlement with Mr. Sneed. I don't know. This past weekend, for example, he had well over 30 cars on the property Saturday, Sunday, something like 8 to 10 tents up, and he's only supposed to have at most 2. You know, he just continues to not care what the legal status is. And I am also curious as to why he's even bothering putting in for a conditional use permit. I can only surmise, given how much he's stepped over the line for what he has authority to do right now. I can only assume that he plans on doing even more, putting up a hotel, doing something else on the property, you know, given how far he steps over the line. So just want to vent that a little bit and let the board know. Certainly the neighborhood is aware of what's going on, and will be providing input all along the way for the conditional use permit. In a more immediate, we're very concerned about what happens this coming weekend for Memorial Day. expected to probably have 100 cars and whatever else. And that was the other thing I forgot on Sunday morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, there was either gunfire or firecrackers or something over there as well. So it's continues to be a nuisance and a problem for the entire neighborhood. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. No, I did not. I did not.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak? And no one else online? Okay. Okay, with that, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period. Gentlemen, consent agenda, do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion and probably second, Ms. Branch.
Aye.
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 Getting into the first public hearing this evening for Resolution 22-38, Subordination Agreement between Kingwood County and Kingwood Little League. Mr. McRoberts, if you please give us an update and presentation.
Sure. This is a public hearing for a subordination agreement between Kingwood County and the Little League, which proposes to put new lights out on the field. In order to put up the lights, they need to have access and approval so that they get the proper financing. The financing is pretty straightforward. They're getting a loan. The loan's secured by the lights that they're putting on there, etc. But in order to actually secure that loan properly, they need this voting agreement from the underlying landowner. Under Virginia Code Section 15.2-1800, a public hearing is required anytime the county is either conveying or subordinating or conveying property interest in property to county. So, public hearing is required by law, and it's very clear. Public hearing and the public comment.
And Mr. Ashcraft, this allows the Little League to expand operations up at the park, if I'm not mistaken, lighting.
Lighting, yes, sir.
Okay.
Just at the one field that they have proposed.
Is that field 5?
I believe, yes, that's right. That's correct.
Okay, very good. Yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Again, opportunity of 3 minutes per individual, 5 minutes per group. Please step forward, state your name and district. Ms. Branch, checking again. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close public hearing on resolution 22-38. We have a motion to pass. Approve resolution 22.
Mr. Chair, I'll move adoption of resolution 22-38.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just one thing. Yeah, my understanding with this, it really is, doesn't allow us to take possession, really is one of the key things in there. Okay, that's what I thought was a.
So while we're on that subject, even though is it possible for the light company to place a lien on the property? It would just be the lights that would be removed. It's just the lights. Okay. That's all.
Okay, Ms. Branch, you call roll, please.
Mr. Miskowski.
Aye.
Mr. Greenwood.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Garber.
Aye.
Chairman Moore.
Very good. Moving on to resolution 22-39. Then the 2021 operating budget and appropriate funding on Kingwood County Public Schools, general obligations on capital projects. Mr. James Sanderson, can you give us an update?
To you, Mr. Chairman, James Hanson again with that holding company. We closed on the Virginia Public School Party bond issue the other week. So that was completed satisfactorily. Interest rates, we priced the other month, interest rates continue to go up, so it was a good time to lock those rates in for the county. With that being done, those funds now available. The resolution that you have in front of you in the public hearing is because we need to amend the budget to allow and appropriate those funds as part of your 2022 budget. So the amount that you see in the resolution, the $6,663,123 are the total proceeds of the bond transaction. We've also included in the write-up the list of the projects that the school board discussed with the county before. So we're required to amend the budget just because the amount of the bond issue is equal to or greater than 1% of your budget. So perfunctory, Mr. Chairman, but happy to answer any questions you may have.
What was the interest rate that we locked in at?
It was right around, I believe, 3.5%. Sounds right. Oh, I got it right here. 3.54%. There are issuance costs. So there's $6,550,000, I believe, was the amount that was for construction costs, and then there was approximately $113,000 of cost of issuance. Yes, sir.
And the term, was that a 20-year term?
That's correct.
20 years.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Hope you had a pleasant drive all the way
Thank
out
you.
here.
No worries.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open public hearing opportunities. Same rules as before, 3 minutes per individual, 5 minutes per group. Ms. Branch checking online. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close public hearing comments for resolution 22-39. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to approve resolution 22-39?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Ms. Branch?
Aye.
Aye. Next up, we have resolution 22-40, adopting the King William County Comprehensive Plan, Blueprint 2041. Ms. Graham, if you could give us an update and overview.
Good evening. Tonight, we're here holding the required public hearing on the comprehensive plan. This follows a public meeting that was held on March 10th and a public hearing held by the Planning Commission on May 3rd. At their May 3rd meeting, the Planning Commission voted 5-0 to adopt a resolution which approves the King William County Blueprint 2041 Comprehensive Plan dated March 25th, 2022, and recommends approval by the King William County Board of Supervisors. The comprehensive plan is a long-range guide for public investment, 10 to 20-year time frame. It establishes a foundation for land development used to understand desired direction for growth, and it's required by Virginia Code. And some of the project tasks and the flow chart on the timeline. We are at the final on the comprehensive plan right now. This started last January. We've had a survey going through almost the entire time that this has started. We've had several public meetings. We've had stakeholder meetings, stakeholder groups that worked on this, as well as Orshall, the Planning Commission, and EDA. A lot of time involved, and we worked with Hill Studio. This is part of the executive summary. This is a key section that will provide the basics of the plan. It covers purpose, overview of the county, vision and goals, and direction for the future. This is our vision and goals. And some of the goals in the plan are to provide for a healthy community, diverse economy, and planned infrastructure, just to name a few of them. Plan contents and organization. This graphic provides an overview of the plan and how it is organized. Executive summary, that's a key piece. And there's some detailed information in the last two sections. And on this map, you see the potential development opportunities for the future. And we'll be discussing that in some of the next slides. And the main goal is to preserve the rural character of the county. And it is important to focus the growth in the specified area, which for us is Central Garage. Most of the county should be sustained in agriculture. Corridor improvements are proposed on the 360 corridor. Village should be considered at King William Courthouse. Improvements are possible for key businesses and industrial parks. Opportunities for expanding outdoor recreation. They exist along our rivers. The rural corridor. Yeah, the rural corridor preservation along 360. The main thing is to keep the concept for the gateways and the corridors to help preserve the rural character of the county. Maintain vistas throughout with careful landscaping, controlled signage, setbacks, and the coordination of the entrances. The county has a corridor overlay district, the transportation corridor overlay district, didn't tongue tied, I'm sorry, which helps to manage development along 30 and 360. And the Central Garage is a growth area. Note that the fourth quadrant of the intersection on 360 and 30 is key development opportunity for a planned mixed use development like retail, hotel, restaurants, and with pedestrian connections. The future roundabout could make an intersection a signature space. That's probably something years down the road. Landscaping, common green space, pedestrian connections, and mixed uses are key to this concept. King William Courthouse Village. The possible development of a village at the King William Courthouse. It provides a key midpoint for county services and additional business investment. Opportunities could include enhanced services for offices, farmers market, event space, and perhaps an education center. Most consider historic content and archaeological resources. Okay. The King William Commerce Park redevelopment example. There are good opportunities for considering a public-private partnership for business development, such as the King William Commerce Park. Planned business park improvements are important. One, to attract businesses. The entrance and the parkway, mixed support use with the complex. Landscaping along the fronts of businesses and parkway. Common green spaces. Connecting the sidewalks and trails can also enhance the quality of the development and provide possible recreational opportunities as well. Recreational opportunities. Recreation for residents is important for quality of life as an economic engine and for visitors. Opportunity for expansion of King William Park for additional recreational activities. Expansion of potential for King William along the rivers. Shared recreational opportunities for facilities such as an auditorium, playgrounds, venues. Okay. Agricultural preservation subdivision. This is important for quality of life and ability to provide necessary, cost-effective, and public services. Most residential development should be within areas with utilities and nearby services. And this is an example of how large parcel of farmland could be planned for housing and maintained agricultural lands. And this is one of our matrix, and along with this matrix, it's a guide. Partners are necessary. Local government does not have all the resources necessary to accomplish it on its own. We have a demographic and market assessment that does include some of the detailed information. And this is some of it that does the demographics, market segmentation, housing, employment, commercial market, tourism, observations. Okay. These are some of the key categories showing growth opportunities. All right. Future land use. Okay. On this particular one, you will see that there's prime farmland, but we also have the Chesapeake Bay preservation areas that do affect the entire county. And these are character districts that we came up with. Kings Forest, Crossing, and Legacy. And then of course, West Point at the end. And this is Kings Forest, Crossing, the Legacy, and of course, West Point. And these are our future land use categories. And this is the future land use. As you can see, the majority of activity is at Central Garage. The next slide will be a blown up version of it to be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, so our final step is public hearing and to adopt the plan.
Very good. Took a long time to get here.
Yeah, but I think we have a good plan.
Okay,
Any questions?
any questions, gentlemen? Okay, we'll go ahead and make it official. I'll go ahead and open public hearing for adoption of resolution 22-40. Same rules, 3 minutes per individual. Now open. Anyone online signed up? Raise hand. Anyone in the audience? Very good. Closing the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move adoption of resolution 22-4.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Ms. Branch? Stand by. Okay, discussion.
Still have not gotten an answer dealing with the rivers being designated. It talked about more regulation with the waterway. And have not gotten an answer as to how it will affect West Rock. We already have regulation.
I thought Mr. Hudson's response was that it would be no effect to it.
Well, we're going to have a presentation on that next time. I didn't think it was pertinent to our comp plan discussion.
That's a different facet of water,
It's been there now.
designating them as scenic. I don't believe
There's nothing about, we're not designating with this. To do go through the process of designating scenic rivers, we have to go through DCR.
If that, then I'm good with that. I think we have enough regulations on our practices here. I mean, to handle this. But anyway, the only other thing I said is we're talking about 3, 6, and 30 or roundabout. I think it's great. I will still vote with it in there, but I think it's absolutely crazy to think about roundabout.
Okay.
I know it was brought up and recommended, but
Well, I think even in the presentation, the representative from the Hill Group said that might be a bit of an aesthetic dreamscape there, but that the overall plan kind of surrounding the development of that area and that corridor was one that I think we conceded that the roundabout might be a bit of a pipe dream. So
Any other comments, questions?
Just conceptual plan, like, so
Right.
we just finished spending the upgrade to that intersection, but VDOT, they're not gonna even approve anything like that for a while, so it's like 20 years out, maybe. I was against it too, but as I've been told, there is more, many of them at Prince George that work. But I don't know, I can't believe it, but, where Mr. Ashcraft.
Colonial Heights.
Colonial Heights, right. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's right.
That's
Sorry.
right.
neighbor
Keep
here.
getting the close enough.
Neighboring
But
jurisdiction,
Right,
thank you.
Right.
Similar.
And they do have them all over the place.
They
You
do.
can answer some of them, but they're in small intersections, not something like this.
No, these are bigger intersections. These are 4 lanes. I know, I don't believe it either, but as I said, it's a dream. But we have to pass it anyway, so. it won't pass.
Okay, closing discussion. Ms. Branch?
Aye.
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 And I'd like to take a moment to congratulate the Planning Commission, the Planning Office, a lot of hard work. Mr. Braden, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Graham, Mr. Greenwood on the board, the Planning Commission liaison. Again, a lot of hard work. Thanks for everyone. And this is on our website, correct, Ms. Graham? And I encourage the public, if you have not done so, to please take a moment. If you don't have access to download, please come into the planning office and we'll get you a copy or let you see one. It's an interesting document. It is our plan for the future. We can only stick by it. Okay, moving on to ordinance 06-22, repealing our county code dealing with dangerous dogs. Mr. McRoberts?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you know, the General Assembly significantly amended the state code provisions regarding dangerous dogs, and as a result, we considered having an ordinance that sort of parallel the state code as Kingwood had in the past. But the sheriff recommended an outright repeal that would allow him to enforce the state code provisions, like basically the papers, the violations are using the state code. One of the added advantages to that is that if the state code gets amended again, you won't have to amend your local ordinance. There might be some small loss of fines, but it's not significant in the ordinance. So it's a straight repeal, and there's really not too much to explain except it's now going to the state code.
Okay, any comments before we open? We go ahead and open the last public hearing this evening for ordinance 06-22. And checking online, Ms. Branch, nothing? Anyone from the public? Go ahead and close the public hearing on ordinance 06-22. Gentlemen, may I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve ordinance 622.
Second.
Moved and properly second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Branch?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, another high point of the evening is an all-points broadband update. Mr. Jimmy Carr and Mr. Tom Ennis of the company that we are within hours, I guess, days, hours of signing a contract. If we could get Mr.
Hello.
Hey, Tom, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. And I apologize in advance for any of the drilling noise. In our building, you can only do work after hours, and the floor above me apparently is doing a lot of work tonight. So if there's some drilling noise, I apologize for that. Okay, well, this will be an update. We're hoping to be a little bit further along than we are today, not because the county or all points, but because the agency with which we've won an award just has not finalized the contract yet. But we have good news to share and give you a quick update and then open the floor for any questions. So Can you all? Can you see that screen?
Yes.
Okay. Great. So here's a quick timeline just to bring folks up to speed in the room or viewing online. So towards the end of 2020, All Points and the county formed a partnership to design and fund and build a fiber to the home broadband network throughout the county to connect all the unserved locations. Key to that partnership was bringing in Dominion Energy Virginia. That company is allowed to invest in middle mile infrastructure to help the fiber to the home network, which in King William County, Dominion will be contributing about 65 miles of fiber to the project. And that partnership started at the end of 2020. In early 2021, All Points secured federal funding through a program called the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund to support a portion of the network in King William. Shortly thereafter, we added the Pamunkey Indian Tribe as a partner in the project, and we'll be including all of those locations and several years of service for those folks. They are also included in the overall regional project with the Department of Housing and Community Development. Later in 2021, the Rappahannock Electric Cooperative was brought into the partnership for those sections of the county. And for the overall project, they are going to contribute a little under 40 miles of fiber to the home. As you all know, at the end of 2021, there was a big announcement for the King William project, receiving $5.4 million from the Virginia Telecommunications Initiative, which is VADI. That award was announced in December, but the agency doesn't actually get the county and All Points under contract until June, as we will discuss a little bit later in this presentation. So there's a big announcement for the award, and we want to get ready as soon as we can, but we can't start actual work until we're under contract with the Department of Housing and Community Development. In a parallel track, Dominion earlier this month submitted its State Corporation Commission filing for King William Middle Mile, which is great news. That by statute takes 6 months, but it won't delay any of the construction or design work in King William. And also earlier this month, actually just on Friday, DHCD released the final contract for King William and All Points to review and submit any final agreements between us and the county in order to get under contract with the department, which we expect to be in early to mid-June to start the actual VADI project. So here is a network map showing the approximately 250 miles of new fiber to be built in the county. This is distribution fiber. It also include the count of the drops between the distribution and the homes, but the mainline distribution fiber that you'll see on the poles running down the road, it's about 250 miles, and that will cover 2,236 currently unserved locations. To be unserved in this program, that means you do not have access to a 25 megabit download broadband connection from a wire. There are other portions of the county that are technically unserved, and they will be served through a company called BreezeLine in certain portions of the county, but that's not part of the All Points broadband project. But between the two, it will result in universal coverage for the whole county. We have some quick next steps. The Department of Housing and Community Development distributed its final contract on May 20th. We are reviewing this with county staff to make sure that our agreement is in compliance and the grant administration agreement that will be presented tonight is in compliance with the final beta contract. So that's good news. We have submitted all of the other VADI award documents to the grant administration program, which is being reviewed by the department. And we expect the final contract to be executed by the middle of June. We will begin the low-level design, the field work, and the make-ready later in Q3 of this year. And the actual network construction will begin in Q4. This is on track to make sure that the entire project is done within a year of the contract start. Any residents who are interested in service, and there's no commitment here, you're just determining whether or not you're in the project, and you can read a little bit about the process to sign up. We want to point people towards fiber.allpointsbroadband.com. King William, you all have a good participation already. I checked before this meeting, and approximately 20% of the project locations have already pre-registered. There are a number of hundreds of locations outside of the project area that want to sign up for service, but right now we're focused only on locations in the VADI project. Another thing that's important, not only in King William, but in all unserved areas and frankly, all locations that have access to broadband, is to make it more affordable. So all service levels from All Points Broadband will be eligible for the $30 per month discount from the Affordable Connectivity Program. This is a federal program that allows for a discount on the recurring fee for broadband for certain qualifying households. So if you participate in the free and reduced lunch program, or any supplemental nutrition programs, or any kind of federal assistance, you qualify for this program, and all Points Broadband service levels are eligible for the $30 per month discount. We are working on other affordability programs in terms of finding low-cost devices for residents, but the only program that we are currently enrolled in is this $30 per month affordable connectivity program. We were hoping to have the contract finalized by now for this update, but we don't yet. That should be coming by mid-June. And so right now we're still in a holding period before the project kickoff. But we've made a lot of good progress. We've done everything that has been required of the county and of All Points to date. And so with that, I will open the floor for any questions.
Any questions? Okay, Ms. Branch, if you could go back to the map, 2 slides back. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom's controlling. Right, see the center part there, the blank in the center, that's all breeze line. All, what they used to be. Atlantic Broadband.
Sorry, Atlantic Broadband, yeah.
And then in the, huh? These are all fiber. This is all fiber. Fiber to the home.
Do we know the number of homes that are currently served? Do we have a number on that?
Not on me.
You,
I remember seeing it, but it's,
Several, it's over
Couple thousand.
2,000.
yes,
close to
it's,
3,000.
I think by the population, it's about half the county.
This was the former Comcast cable network that all,
Well, not this map. This map
no,
is unbuilt.
West Point is Cox. We're not,
Right, there's a whole other area in there that we got green and red lines.
Yeah.
That is above West Point.
Right. The red lines are the
Okay.
distribution lines. The green dots are the drops, which are either a house or a business.
the passings they call it.
Is on the map that they would be passing.
right, sorry, I should have been more clear about that. Yeah.
In many of the homes, you know how far off the road they are, they're gonna service them all the way back to the home.
That's what they
Yes.
said, free of charge if you sign up initially.
It's part of the VATI RDOF requirement for them to do so. And this was in the first year of offering service. If you're a half mile off the road, they are obligated to connect to your home. Outside of that year, that's when you got to negotiate. And we got some programs we'll talk about later that'll cover some of those. But
Right, yeah, so there's a standard install fee. Regardless of the, what's called the drop length. And then after that 1 year period, that standard fee will get you 500 feet, which is about twice of what a cable company will offer. But in the first year, all you pay is the standard fee. And if your driveway is a half a mile, we're building a half mile of fiber to your house if you're in this project, for just the standard fee.
Now, are there portions, we had spoken previously about things like burying the lines or something like that. Is that still going to be an additional service fee even during that first year?
If we determine that your drop to your home should be aerial and you want it, which is following the electrical path, and you want it to be buried, that would be an additional cost.
But if it's not practical to bring it in aerially, like if the power line coming in is already buried.
Right. Then we would bury it for this
Okay.
standard fee.
What about all the customers in Breeze Line that they won't cover? Because Breeze Line, you have all this wide area, but there's a lot of homes in it that they will not come to.
okay, that again, we'll talk about
Oh, that's
a
actually,
program that is available to them. This is something that we tried to impress upon folks to make sure that if they wanted service to get in line. And
we did. I was one of the first
Well,
ones, and they're telling me that I can't have it.
yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't make
Do
any
we?
sense.
Right, and Breeze Line, now, another component of this too, that Mr. Moore knows more about than I'm aware of, is that Breeze Line is also won an RDOF grant in the county.
if you look at that northern part of King William County there towards King, Queen, and Caroline, that is Breeze Line's RDOF, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. That is their area that they won the rights to provide service. We're still awaiting the final Federal Communications Commission approval for that program.
Do we have a map that actually correlates the routes that are gonna be served? Everything is pretty well
Not
loaded
yet.
up.
That will be
Because
developed.
it looks like you're gonna get it, right?
Already have it.
Well, you did. Okay. I'm thinking I see Enfield Road on there. I
Yes,
can't do it.
you will
Yeah.
all, it kind of stops up on, it'll go into 600, Herring Creek Road off of 30 for a little bit, for example, and then it stops. And that's where the RDOF area, you can't go into someone else's territory. That's the rule.
It's this map online that we can maybe blow up and look at closely.
Once All Point starts developing their engineering plan, I'm sure they're going to get us more detail. Mr. Ennis, is that correct? Can I
Yeah,
assume?
and so the state agency is kind of the focal point for broadband mapping. And we have submitted all kinds of GIS data to the agency to be mapped. Their website, I think it is commonwealth-connection.com, and their goal is to post all of the VADI projects on that website where you can see the project boundaries. I know that they've done last year's projects, and I'm not sure when the current round, which is the King William County one, I'm not sure when that will be posted, but it could be in June. And that would be an easy place for people to see where the project is, how much progress has been made, how many miles of fiber have been built, how many homes have been passed. All of that information will be on the agency's website. And if there are residents or constituents who try to go to our website and can't find out whether or not they're in the project or not, Steve or Ed, you can email me that and I can check on the back end, but we really want people to go to fiber.allpointsbroadband.com and that will tell them whether or not their address is in the project. That's the easiest way for people to find out.
Yes, what?
comment, Doctor, it won't affect me that much, but the contracts for all these. Even with the have one there, county,
Contract for what? I'm sorry.
well, explain what they're gonna guarantee for all.
They're guaranteeing to build all that middle mile infrastructure and that offer internet for all of those dots on the map.
On the northwest side, that is through Rappahannock Electric. They're going to use their middle mile, going to their substations, tap into that and distribute service to homes there. This is all down on this end is Dominion.
With it, what I understand is all they use cable, they get cable.
No,
It's
Just,
that's the
TV over internet. You can get streaming, Hulu, Netflix, all those.
that's what most of them.
Exactly. So any other?
We'll offer a voice over IP phone service, but not a TV service, although we do have a third party that will help you recreate a satellite TV package, although obviously not through satellite, but we don't offer video. We just offer the broadband and voice over IP, and we will help you recreate your other content.
So if you have a landline, you can drop that and just do voice over IP telephone.
Who is the third party?
Uh,
Did he mention a third
It
party?
doesn't matter. It's thousands out there.
It's a national kind of bundler of Netflix and Hulu and the other streaming services.
All right, Tom, thank you very much for the update.
Sure.
Good seeing you last week.
Yeah, I hope you guys learned some stuff. It was good to see both of you all there in attendance.
Okay,
Thanks for the time.
thank you. Let's see, probably Mr. Hudgens, if you'd like to give us an overview of the administration agreement.
Good evening. What you have before you is the grant management agreement between the county and All Points. This is part of what will need to be submitted to DHCD before our contract can be finalized with them. This is the biggest piece and what we have been waiting on. As Mr. Ennis said, DHCD did not come out with their final template of what this needed to include until last Friday. In anticipation, because they've been in discussions of what it would be, they gave us this, their agreement proposal. And now that it came out on Friday, they have concluded, reviewed it and said, yep, what they sent us is fully covered from what DHCD would like. So this covers all that we need to make the grant management agreement happen. This is not the contract for construction. This is who's responsible for what throughout the grant management. It does include how payments would be made, how the reimbursement process, a little bit high level view of how that works, and then assigns more responsibilities to All Points. We will be the grant recipient. All Points is not a subrecipient. They are treated like a contractor. Any questions?
So the purpose of this is to allow you or Mr. Ashcraft the authority to sign.
Correct.
Entering into
We would
agreement.
request that you make a motion giving authority to the county administrator to sign this contract and submit it.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to grant such authority.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Branch?
I guess I don't serve everybody in the county, but okay. All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Next, under old business, we have Chief Reeves talk about resolution 22-41.
Don't have anything new to add. We made the presentation at the last meeting to utilize the funds donated by Mr. Hunter's estate to create a water rescue program for King William and Central Barrage out of Station 1 that will serve water rescue for both rivers and cooperate with all of our assets on either side of the river in West Point, and also with the sheriff's office whenever calls come in. With us expanding our natural resources and just the growth in the county, summer activities, hurricane season, we've all seen flooding, and the importance of this program is pretty grand, and wouldn't be able to do it without this donation. And we're just here tonight asking for approval of the resolution to utilize the funds to create the program.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2241.
Moved and probably second. Any further discussion? Questions?
Chief,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I'm gonna look for, be there before it starts. Now, on a given call.
Mhm.
We're supposed to personnel put on the water and bring an ambulance to the scene.
Well, you gotta kind of weigh, just like a fire call, what the event is, what's occurring, how do you get the resources that you need? The limited resources, if you have to have everybody that's left available to bring the boat to get to the person to, render immediate life-saving care, you do that. If everybody's at the station, you got plenty of folks to bring both. It's dependent on the situation at hand.
On a given shift, I mean, you know,
Once the recruits are out and we have everybody trained, right now we've got like 3. But once the recruits graduate and they're all done in July 1, they'll have finished their fire 2 stuff. They'll have 5 per day.
And will perhaps Mangaheck be invited to participate?
Yes. With proper training, they're welcome to come.
And well, West Point, you have your own boat.
I'm guessing you're trained in all of it.
What's at West Point? Yeah, I can't speak on their behalf. I know that I spoke with Chief Smith, and they have several folks down there that are already trained with water rescue stuff, and we'll work with all the departments to try to get the program, to where it needs to be so that we're inclusive. I would never turn any help away. It's just a matter of, water rescue can be just as dangerous as the person themselves who are at risk, especially if it's during a weather event. So we just want to make sure everybody's trained to the proper level is all. It'll take a little time to get it, completely off the ground, but that's the plan.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Yeah, we already had one. If I recall, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be okay. Thank you, Chief. Ms. Branch.
Aye.
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 Aye, too many resolutions. Okay. Mr. Arlen, resolution 22-43, appropriating funds to King William County Public Schools. Oops, I'm sorry. Am I on the wrong?
10B, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
crossed
sorry.
it up. We're all, that's it.
Resolution 22-42, all hazards mitigation.
This was great.
Well, sorry.
Okay, so we're here tonight to see if we can get the resolution adopted. This was one that I presented to you at your last meeting. This is the Middle Peninsula All Hazard Mitigation Plan. This was actually done through the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission. They had funding through FEMA and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. So they've guided all the Middle Peninsula localities and updating the regional hazard mitigation plan. So it's important that all of the localities adopt it. Most of the localities have already adopted. I think there's only 2 or 3, with us being one that have not adopted it yet.
Any questions before we can entertain a motion to approve?
No questions, Mr. Chairman. I'll move approval of resolution 22. Second.
Motion made, seconded. Ms. Branch?
Aye.
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 Aye. Now, Ms. Zerler. It's been a long day.
Mhm.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Included in the agenda packet this evening is Resolution 22-43 for the board consideration to approve additional funding in FY 22 to the schools to cover the fuel cost rise through June 30th, 2022. The FY 22 food and beverage tax and motor vehicle license revenues have exceeded the anticipated amounts as of April 30th, 2022 by $126,169. Staff recommends Resolution 22-43.
Okay. Any discussion, questions of Mr. Arnold? I can entertain a motion to approve.
No, so Stacy's anticipating around $100,000 to carry her through till the end of this fiscal year,
Which would be
Next
June
month.
the
June
30th.
30th, 2022.
Didn't we already ask about an increase for this and had 50,000 already in there?
Well, right, that's for FY 23 though. This is to close out.
Oh,
FY
this
22,
year.
Right,
That's
Oh,
right.
This fiscal year.
They need more to close out this year than next year.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing to do with FY 23. Well, we'll see.
Prices are going to go down.
I say it's going up to 750 by the end of the year.
Well, and the
Okay.
reason why I brought this tonight was Stacy Longus and I, every month, we look at where we're at with revenues versus what was appropriated to the schools. And we noticed that that had exceeded quite a large number. And we do have the problem of the fuel price rising. Either way, that money is obligated to the schools. So we just thought, let's go ahead and ask the board for it instead of putting it into the split levy restricted fund at the end of the fiscal year.
So we're fortunate that we're seeing a lot of people buying a lot of food in the county. So. All right, again, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move approval of resolution 22.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Ms. Branch?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Gentlemen, in your agenda tonight, Mr. Hudgens and I attended a Broadband Together conference last week in Richmond, sponsored by VACO, VML, and the Broadband Association of Virginia. It was an excellent opportunity. I've created a trip report with a detailed summary. I know it's a lot to read. You just got it tonight. At the end of the session, the Broadband Advisory Council, sponsored by Senator Jennifer Voisko, they convened. Nothing significant. The main highlight was the DHCD body program directed by Dr. Tamara Holmes. It's a lead in the nation. Many stated that Virginia is leading broadband deployment in the nation. And I think we can back that up with what DHCD has done. I've included some terms on the third page at the bottom that you may have never heard before. Digital equity, digital literacy. Equity meaning that you may not You may have it, but you don't know how to use it, or you need it, don't have it. Literacy, again, is not being able to use a computer, not understanding. And the goal now is to develop programs that solve some of these issues, along with having gigabit fiber to your home. We want people to understand how best to use it, how they can include it in their daily lives, telehealth, going back to school, you name it. So if there's any questions, call me, email me if you go through these and have any questions. I'd like to ask Mr. Hudgens, are you prepared to provide a demo?
Yes.
If you look at the bottom, session 11, the broadband availability map, Mr. Ennis alluded to it briefly. The Virginia Tech's Center for Geospatial Information developed by direction of the DHCD, directed them to develop this broadband map. And if you go home and start playing with it, it's kind of fascinating to see what programs and what coverage we have. This is, it's not based on the VADI contract that we will have. This is based on existing contracts that are deployed. So it's a little shortfall right now.
Mr. Chair, is that something that was on our desk tonight?
Should
Correct. It should have been in at your plate.
page 133, actually.
It's got Kingwood County memo heading on it.
Got it in the wrong tab. Go ahead. No big deal.
Mr. Hudgens is going to go ahead and demonstrate a few of the interesting aspects.
Sure. So this is the map program website that was alluded to by Mr. Ennis earlier tonight. It is maintained by DHCD and or a partner. And like we said, the data might be a little bit old. It's not up to date for today, but it is from last year. And to not get lost, you would go. So this is Commonwealth Connection, that's connection.com. If you want to see the state's broadband coverage, you would click on broadband coverage. It opens up this little drop down. And so Virginia collected as of December 2021. And you can look at the data in several different ways. This is for at least one address served, and they have shaded in every single voter's cell block, electoral cell block that has at least one address shown, or one address with coverage. And down below here, the speed, that is what it's showing coverage for 25.3. Pretty similar for 1,000, but if we were to change, instead of at least one address, we could say at least 95% of the homes are served, and it's not the same. So that light blue is at least one address, 95% is the dark blue.
And of course, that denotes the Breeze Line network.
Right, that's Breeze Line, and down here, West Point
Cox
is covered. You see total state. It's got a lot of great information in DHCD. We'll be continuing to update this. This is, like I said, Virginia collected information. So this is what was sent in by ISPs to the state as to how far it was being covered. The FCC is a different data set and is a little bit older, December 2020. And if you notice, that says that we are 100% covered. I noticed, I dug into some of the details where the data is, and at that time, Winship had said that they were covering some of the county. And FCC might also not be saying it's fiber to the home, but say fixed wireless at that time. So as you can tell, this stuff is going to be updated. The older information might be archived, so you're not looking at old data, but that's as current as they can get it right now. And it's still pretty.
one of the main, the impetus for the legislature to directing DHC to develop this is because the FCC data is, it's just all out there. If they met one customer in a, what do they call it, the block, the voting block, then it's covered, census block. If they hit one home, one residence, then if they could color in the whole area. So it's very,
Right, well, let's just, let's just demonstrate how bad the data is. Just go up there and take off in your selections. Take off the at least one address served. Yep. All right.
just go straight with FCC.
Yeah, and then leave that 95% and then overlay the at least one to FCC data. Because you're seeing a more honest picture here, and then that's what the FCC thinks we have. Right. And then just look at that problem, just region-wide, and then
At least someone raised the question, well, this is obviously, that data is completely skewed. Is that being looked at when we're applying for a grant that says you need to not be served?
well, right, federally, it was a big, big barrier to us because for the longest time, the problem with all of this was that we, either as a locality or as a region, were going to the state and saying, you know, this is a really big problem. And the response is always, there's tons of federal money out there for it. Why are you coming to us? And so finally, somebody was able to demonstrate, well, all of the federal money is being thrown into other, we know when the feds talk about rural, they're talking about one house per square mile. They're talking about Wyoming somewhere. That's rural to the feds, you know, not this. This is all suburban to them, like throughout the whole county. So
That's northeast.
yeah.
And boundaries is pretty straightforward. I'll just touch on assets and programs. This is pretty good information as well. Again, it's not really up to date, but you can see where it's going. It'll show you all the public Wi-Fi spots, vertical assets where all the towers are. So right now, this is just showing the school, so it doesn't show our location. It doesn't show the community center, both of which are now public hotspots.
If you click on a tower, Steve, it'll explode to tell you who owns it. There you go. Nope. There it is. So this is under development. It'll get better and more information will be loaded as they go along.
And like you said, it does include VADI recipients in those areas that will be covered. Now, it's as of 2021, which means the previous VADI cycle. So King William doesn't show up, but King and Queen does because they were part of the previous cycle, as was more than that.
And then at the top, the speed test.
Speed test is where you are at right there with your computer doing a speed test. Don't get confused that you're looking at some locality and you are trying to get a speed test for that. It is where you're sitting right there. So it doesn't really have to do with where the map is. But it's just a nice little.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
And
it's
it
not somewhere else, whatever you're zoomed in on
Right.
the map.
And it also, you know, the computer you're using, the hardware.
Right, there's a
doesn't-
lot of speed tests.
It doesn't hurt to exercise this once in a while because it allows them to collect more and more data.
So you can see where this is going. It's got some good information on it now. If you want to, they were making correlations at the conference about where growth was in housing and all, and compared to where the broadband was available.
Okay.
Neat.
Go
Love
home,
maps.
go home and play. It does take a little while to download if you don't have a fast connection, so patience. All right, next up, a real quick overview. Mr. Ennis alluded to the Affordable Connectivity Program. I'm a committee member of the National Association of Counties, the Telecommunications and Technology Committee. The ACP program has been pretty hot, talked about, FCC initiated. The discount that Tom was talking about is up to $30 per month of eligible households. And that's for regular county residents, up to $75 per month for tribal areas. This, as we get into the eligibility guidelines slide, It's income that is at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. If you're in the SNAP program, Medicaid, public housing, supplemental security income, and some other programs, Lifeline, then you're more than likely eligible for a 30% discount. How that works is you fill out some forms, and we're still working through who would be helping and assisting. But fill out some forms, you send it into the ISP, and they will get a payment from the government. Your bill would be discounted, and then they get a payment from the government. This I've checked. Breeze Line does support it, so anybody that's in the Breeze Line territory today, or maybe can't afford it today, and this would help, they do participate, as well as Verizon Wireless. As Mr. Ennis alluded, all points will be participating, so King William will be covered. How to enroll? The information is there on slide 4. Yes. Well, it's in here, but we'll also get it loaded up. We probably need to start building a separate, more detailed, comprehensive link on our website as things start to move. Different vendors have different types of disabilities, discounts, but there's another program, BEAD. I'll dig into that. That's another state program that I'll get into next session. And then Mr. Ashcraft or someone added a kind of a one-sheeter here outlining again more of the details. Any questions on ACP? All right. The next in the wanted to talk briefly about the LECAP program. It's a line extension. I'm sorry, Mr. Ashcraft, just one kind of a piggyback on the ACP is LECAP, line extension connectivity affordability program. I think it stands for is the acronym. It's a state's program where if you couldn't afford to extend from the main line to your home, again, you follow the outlines of similar outlines as the affordability connectivity program, you may be eligible to have money made available to allow that ISP to extend to your home. So that's another program we'll elaborate on as we go along. Lots of things coming. All right, Mr. Ashcraft, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and ladies and gentlemen. Before you is Resolution 22-44. It's entitled the Reorganization of the King William County Social Services Board and the Establishment of the King William County Social Services Advisory Board. Right now, the Department of Social Services operates under the oversight of a 5-member board appointed by the members of the Board of Supervisors. Mr. Garber currently serves as the board rep on that board. That board is responsible now for hiring a director. The director then oversees the day-to-day operations of the employees. This resolution, if adopted, would change this model. The model would move the department underneath the oversight of the County Board of Supervisors, who, as you know, appoints a county administrator, and the county administrator would serve as the board rather than the 5-member board that is in place today. The county administrator would be responsible for recommending the hiring of a director, and then the employees ultimately would report to that director, to the county administrator, who would be the board, and then ultimately to the oversight of the Board of Supervisors. Right now, employees within the department follow the state guidelines, except in two areas: holidays and inclement weather. Under this oversight, we have removed that for now. We need some time to work through the different policies that exist on the state level and how those compare to the county level. So we have amended your resolution to include that on page 2 of your resolution, but we did not make that same change over on page 1 on line 12. So the words "and be governed by the King William County personnel policies and procedures" need to be removed on line 12 and 13 on page 1. But that correction or amendment has been made on page 2. An advisory board by state code has to be created if you are to adopt this model. And that advisory board would not have any authority, but it would be play a key role in monitoring what is going on in the community, to be able to make recommendations, to be able to engage with the staff, and just continue to be the eyes and ears of the community for social services issues. You would be responsible as a board to appointing this 5-member citizen board. And in order for it to get on a regular schedule, you would have different terms of those appointees. Ultimately, they would serve 4-year terms, not to exceed 2 4-year terms consecutively. County staff recommends the adoption of this resolution. We think it is a good model. There are many localities that are moving towards this model. It maintains another day-to-day oversight to the department that doesn't exist today. You certainly have the director that has been in place for years, but with the county administrator and all the staff that I have at my disposal, we can assist and strengthen the day-to-day operations of the agency. So again, we would ask your support for this change, and then we would come back to you on June 13th with recommendations on how the employees would be affected, if anything, with the state policies versus the county policy. It is not our intention to take anything away from any employee, but we have to see how that would interact when we make those recommendations to you.
Gentlemen, any questions or comments?
This is
question. Because I worry that maybe with the misunderstanding of the HR handling gives me pause to think that we might just want to have the whole picture before we go crashing it. It just gives me enough to think about, to think that I want to make sure we're not missing something. I want to make sure we're not getting into something that we look back on and say we don't want to get into. I'm not saying I'm against it by any stretch. And I would certainly love for there to be more direct accountability from that office. I just want to make sure that we don't misunderstand some portion of this, or that, again, we're biting off more than we think we are. Because I was a bit surprised to find out the other day that we were planning to take over inland HR over there. That's not what I understood us to be kind of getting into at the beginning. And I expressed that when we talked through it, and now I understand that this resolution kind of uncouples that from this action, but
It does.
right. But just that alone gives me enough pause to think that I don't want to have rushed into this and regret it.
Mr. Carter?
Well, the largest intent of this was this This is about the Social Services Board and how we are going to go to an advisory board. The rest of it is probably still in flux so far as how it may or may not affect their benefits package. Correct. This is just a first step. Look, I'm very close to it, and something needs to be done.
I agree with
And
that.
the longer that it takes, you know, it's just a situation that needs to be addressed. And I certainly want to thank Mr. Ashcraft for stepping up to the plate. It's a, you know, I don't know. I would make a motion to approve this. Y'all can, you know, vote. any
Right
way
now,
you
we have
want.
a major department without a rudder.
I understand that, but we don't know anything about the benefits or anything else.
We know quite a bit.
We should have.
We know a lot. We know a lot about the benefits.
Why don't we have any questions?
The largest benefit that I see is basically the county allows sick leave time to roll over. Social services does not, but they have, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have it in front of me. They have 4 days, I guess, of personal leave, and they lose all of that every year. And they also have hybrid employees, category 1, category 2 employees. All of those employees are not going to be affected adversely. You know, it's a matter of, to me, whether you want to step up to the plate, help them out to get the services to the people. Because honestly, the courts are not happy with what's going on in social services.
Over, no, I don't think we're arguing the same point. I don't even know that we're really arguing.
No,
I
we're
think
not
the only
arguing.
point that you're getting from down here is again, maybe some call for just, I don't know. In my mind, I get the distinct feeling that we don't have the whole picture. I get a bad feeling about it right now.
Okay. So
That's my thing. It's not arguing whether or not I think this is
Okay.
a good idea if the idea comes together the way that I envisioned it as it was presented. It's just, I worry that we're gonna pick up a rock and we're not gonna like what we find. And all of a sudden, it's gonna be, the rock is gonna be in our hands, you know? So,
Well, the only way that we can rebuild that reputation and confidence with the courts, in my opinion, is to do something. You know, the Social Services Board, and I respect every last one of them. But, you know, we as a board, you know, we meet, but we're not in that office every day. We don't go to court. And this would be oversight, very close. It would be an island for those who have HR problems that they could feel like maybe they could come and express their opinions to a neutral site. You know, basically, I told them that I fully supported it. I'll tell you all, I fully support it. You know, I won't hold it against anybody if anybody wants to delay it, but I will make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
So Andrew, could we get some input from you? Or those valid concerns or?
I think it's a motion and a second.
No, we've not had a second.
You have the authority to decide whether you want to have a county administrator get board or have a citizen get board. I really don't want to weigh in on this.
right, I think the answer is it's certainly something that we have the ability to do, and that's really all Andrew's here to tell us whether or not we can or we can't. And again, my concern isn't so much whether or not having them accountable to an elected body is a good idea, because I certainly do think that is a good idea, and we accomplished that by appointing the county administrator to be the board as is drawn in this resolution. My concerns are, again, one of how especially the benefits management part of this is handled, how it takes place. Are there limits to the authority that can be exercised over there that might change the landscape of it? I don't know. I'm getting a lot of information from a lot of different sources that it's difficult to kind of pin down what's going to affect what. So again, the central point of this is, it's again, less of whether I think what's proposed is a good idea, so whether or not I think we have the whole picture of what is being proposed. At least to me, that's where I'm.
Basically, the social services board can meet tomorrow and say, Mr. Ashcraft, we no longer need your services. So if you're happy with his leadership there, we're in the process of trying to, we've advertised, I don't know whether we have had any applicants or not. But basically, if you, I don't know, whatever y'all want to do.
Well, let me just ask directly. We've had, obviously, we're making this change to the resolution. We've got information from, DSS about, that might be challenging how much we can change if we want to make changes to the way that the employees are directly managed from an HR, from benefits, and from all of that. Do we feel pretty confident that, we've got the resources and the wherewithal to effectively become the managing organization of that all?
Yes, sir. Especially with the addition of the second employee that was approved budgetarily in HR.
Okay.
We do. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One more. Then why don't we just bring them under the county?
To bring them directly under the county, we could do that, and there are localities that do that. But I do think that there are certain benefits, especially for some senior employees, that they might lose. Leave. I think it's worth a side-by-side comparison, and we want to be able to do that, work with the state officials to get it approved, and then bring it to you in one package. Tonight, if you need justification for your vote one way or the other, this would become effective immediately. I would become an overseer of the department immediately with this model. All the employee benefits stay the same until we can figure out what that's going to be. But the direct oversight, I would no longer have to be the interim. I would be the county administrator and the interim, looking over the day-to-day operations of social services.
How is that gonna work? They're pretty much
They aren't now.
our employees are compensated differently than that.
Well, I guess it's no different than constitutional officers. They have different pay raises that they get from the state. They have different funding sources than county employees do. The constitutional officers, for the most part, have chosen to come under the county's personnel policies, but not all. Hiring, grievance, there's other things that aren't in those. So yeah, you will have a little different look for social services employees, but we've made you make it work with constitutional officers, and again, it works in many localities to do that.
But they're not compensated.
Social services, absolutely. The majority of their 85% of their funding comes from the state. 15 about. Well, it's not the compensation board. It's the Department of Social Services that is funded by the state.
They're somewhat on an island.
It's a separate state agency that funds them.
They're somewhat on an island so far as what you would call them, but they are considered county employees, aren't they?
Well, the reason they're county employees in definition is because they're located here. They operate within the county. They are not designated as a state agency. I'll give an example. The governor is wanting to remove teleworking for all state employees.
Yeah.
County social services employees does not fall under that rule or regulation. They can set their own policy as to how they want teleworking, and they have. And that is something that would be under review by myself, county HR. Again, those are exactly the kind of things that we're
telling me that they're still gonna be under social services
I can't say, no, well, they're not under it now. They have their own policy internally as it relates to telework. They have a manual of other kinds of policies. You know, there's, for most of the money things, the state governs. But for the local things, the department has set its own policy. And the only thing that the county influences is when we close for inclement weather and when we take off for holidays.
They can still work from home, and that's, is that what you're telling me?
Well, right now, yes, sir.
But
Right now, you say right now, but can you ever change it?
Well, as interim director, I've already done this.
he has-
I froze that policy as interim director, and now all employees are reporting to the office for a full day's work. There's no teleworking going on in the agency right now.
that,
And see when I-
people go to social services. People go to social services because they need help. They swallow their breath. Well, no, but what I'm saying is, if you have someone that specializes in whatever area they might need help in, and that they are at home teleworking, that can be a problem. Because some people struggle filling out an application, and I fully supported Mr. Ashcraft with that decision.
What happens in the point that they were mentioning about the director? Is there still gonna be, since it's one already?
There will be a director.
There still
It's
will
just-
be.
Just
Oh,
like any department head or any departments that we have a leader of every department,
You'll
this-
just be over them.
as I am now, the other departments.
Okay.
It's just the other layer is just that, and I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous that you have a one-person board, but that's the way that it's just defined. The county administrator really does the things that the county administrator does in interacting with all departments. He or she will will do that with social services.
Under the one more, the advisory thing, will we have a member on that?
Yes. You can. You don't have to, but you can.
They still serve the same role, they lose the authority.
That's correct. But it'll be a clean slate that you have 5 slots. How you choose to, have the makeup of the advisory board is up to you.
I asked, and Mr. Ashcraft did too, that if this is approved, all of the members have been asked if they would like to remain with the advisory board. And they understand that it is no compensation for it. And, how many of them will or will not? But if this is approved, we will not have, until this advisory board is formed, we get the applications and form it, we will not have any type of a social services board. Mr. Ashcraft will be the board.
But as far as the initial look, there's nothing that we can't do with the HR related portion, salaries, leave time, sick time. There's nothing that can't be done. It's just that we wanted to get the authority granted to Mr. Ashcraft tonight and then work through all the details. Yeah, we were very short.
You mean the HR piece?
Well, if you're reading everything you already said, you weren't sure what obstacles we were going to run into.
Well, I think that's correct as far as making the comparison. We've looked at it and we do know that there are some benefits that social services employees have now that if they were to come under county policy, they would lose some. But how that can be mitigated, I'm not sure right now.
And
Leave is a good example of
the
that.
county offers some things that they don't have. too.
That's correct. It's going to be almost a give and take. And there's also, well, without getting too far into it, I think there's ways that it can be a win for everyone. And that's what we're going to bring forward to you at the work session in June.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2244.
The amended resolution 22.
Yeah, the amended resolution 2244.
When you say the amendment, you're talking about
The, line 13, 12 and 13.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
We have a motion, properly second. Any further discussion? Ms. Branch, if you call the roll.
No. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Resolution 22-44R has passed. Mr. Ashcraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. An amended, or an updated report from the county administrators is in your packet. As you know, I give that to you in your packet a week in advance, and then I update it with some of the highlighted areas in your. I want to bring to the attention, I believe everyone has been invited on Saturday to the Upper Mattaponi Powwow property dedication. That's at 12 o'clock noon, and it will be at the location of the powwow. That'll be taking place all of Saturday from 10 to 5, and then on Sunday from 1 to 5. So, I. We will make that, we'll make those apologies, certainly so. And we were a little disappointed. As you know, we've been anxiously moving towards a date to where the public safety radio system would be implemented and up and running. And the key to that is that foliage test. And it was supposed to take place today. And we just aren't there. The sheriff and even our IT folks who aren't with us this evening, I don't believe, but Mr. Garner from Motorola just said he wasn't ready. So it's been moved to June the 20th, but I've invited Mr. Garner to attend your June 13th work session to get an update on this system and for you to be able to ask questions relative to why we seem to be experiencing any delays. Because if we miss this test, as you know, it could be another year before we even implement this. So it's critical that we meet that June 20 date, I believe. So, and you have the other reports, gentlemen, that our staff and other agencies put in the back. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. Okay. Oh, well, I hadn't got to that yet. Okay, I was going to get to that in just a second. No, you're right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about any of
The Kingwood Little League tournament is on.
It is. Starts June 18th, I believe. I think that's what they said. Okay, thank you, Mr. Hodges. As you know, FOIA training and even training in parliamentary procedure is probably something that needs to, it's for new members, it's almost mandatory. I believe it might be mandatory, but it's always good to get an update. And we have a number of boards and commissions in the county that also have new members that have not taken this training. So we're asking the board to consider an evening. I'm not going to throw out Saturday, but we could do it on a Saturday if necessary, to where we would invite you as board members and also any members of the boards and commissions that feel like that they need either a brush up on FOIA or to receive it for the first time. And then, of course, maybe to review some things in parliamentary procedure. It's always good to have Robert's Rules of Order and a mindset of that, and how basic things can be forgotten sometimes over time. So I would be looking, if you want us to look for a date in June, July, it shouldn't be, we shouldn't wait too long to maybe get it all together. But
If we could also look at online resources.
yes.
I recall taking FOIA training several times, and I believe it was through VACO.
You and I.
Right, and yeah, so you get it at the, the new supervisor forum, that there's always a presentation from the FOIA council, but the FOIA council, I remember years ago, the PDC brought them in one time to do kind of the in-person thing, and it was good, it was interactive. I don't think the same lady who did it, I think she's retired
I think,
now.
yeah, I
but,
believe she is.
It was certainly more engaging than, having the video run for an hour.
I agree.
So I don't know, maybe someone could dedicate a work session to it or something like that, might be.
But you probably would want it in an off work session because our work sessions are pretty filled, as you know, and they'll continue to be as we move forward. This would probably need to be something that's just separate and apart from any other business.
And certainly invite school board, all the
Absolutely.
departments, commissioners.
So can we, if you agree to do it, then we'll throw out some dates to you offline and then see when it works for the majority of this board, and then we'll just try to make the others conform if possible. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Anybody remember who went first last time? Mr. Hodges, District 1, step up.
They have started painting the crosswalks. That's where, and then they're gonna come back and stamp them. Paper, just leave them paint, a whole lot of things. That's the only thing that I can think of. You keep attention to the pavilion in West Point. They're having a food truck show on certain Fridays, and it's on Facebook and on the website. And I think that's your thing.
It's on our, yeah, we're promoting all of those things happening in the town.
And then these are Friday evenings downtown. It's been started, and there's a list of those also. That's about all I have right now.
District 2, Mr. Miskowski.
Town Facebook page, use my wife's pictures from the food truck thing for their wrap up. Not much tonight, Mr. Chairman. Certainly nothing personal in voting against 2244. I don't get a warm and fuzzy about it right now, and I just wish I had more information. But I am confident that we've got the ability to get a handle on that office, and so hope we will. A reminder, I'm not going to be here for the next work session. I'm going to be in Orlando having dinner with Bell and the Beats on Monday night, so I will not be remoting in either. But I'll get up to speed on everything before and after, make sure that I know what's going on.
There'll be a test.
Don't worry, I ain't scared.
Mr. Greenwood. I ain't scared of me. Mr. Greenwood.
Yeah, nothing new. It's just, if they were dwindling down on Zoom, we used to have a lot now. It looks like we only have 6 or 7. There's a lot of people in the audience. That's good. Thanks everybody for coming. There's a bad accident on 30, but now the paving's done, and there was a house, big old garage fire on 30 right next to that. So keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers or stuff that's going on. COVID is really coming back, so watch out, people. We had to, like Mr. Ashcraft was saying, the governor made all state employees come back to work July 1st. We've already had 5 cases of COVID in the last 2 weeks at work. So just be careful out there. If you have to do something. I've got my 4th booster now, so if you need it, you'll get it. Keep safe. Yeah, 4th booster.
You got to be one of you 4. I can't get it.
Oh, that's right. You have to have a medical condition.
Or you got to be over
Over
55 or
62.
something.
Yeah, I'm just about to
You
retire
keep on,
tomorrow.
you'll get that.
Yeah, I'm 62 tomorrow. So.
Happy almost birthday.
Yeah.
Mr. Governor.
Yeah, COVID is on the rise again. Want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. And Travis, I don't hold anything against anybody the way they love. It's just something that I really, I'm closer to it than anybody in here except for now Mr. Ashcraft. Yeah, it's just a need. Oh, that's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody for coming. Everybody was online.
I'll just follow up, reiterate the success stories as far as broadband deployment in the county. We've Mr. Miskowski was on the original quick committee. We've come a long, long ways. We're very proud of where we are. Eminently, within days, start seeing trucks and orange stuff going into the air for fiber being strong. Thanks everyone for coming, participating. Always check the county website. Mr. Ashcraft and staff have been keeping it up to speed. Ms. Branch, I don't know how you do it. With that, if I could entertain a motion to convene closed meeting.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we convene a closed meeting in accordance with section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia to consider a personnel matter involving the appointment of individuals to boards and commissions.
Second.
I have a motion and properly seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Branch.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This shouldn't be very long. I know I always say that, but it really shouldn't be long. Call the meeting back to order.
Mr. Chair, I move we reconvene in open session.
Thanks.
Moved in second. Ms. Branch.
Aye.
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 Aye. Mr.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Branch.
Aye.
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 Aye. Mr. Garber, if you would,
Resolution 2245, appointment to the Wetlands Board of Directors. Whereas there are currently 2 vacancies on the Wetlands Board of Directors, and whereas Stephanie Pollard of District 1 has expressed interest in an appointment to the Wetlands Board of Directors, and whereas the Board of Supervisors now desires to make an appointment to this position. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of King William County, Virginia, that Stephanie Pollard is appointed to the Wetlands Board of Directors for a 5-year term ending September 30th, 2027. Done this day, 23rd of May, 2022.
Second.
motion to approve. Okay. Moved and seconded. Ms. Branch.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of resolution 22-46, appointing John Edwards to the Plymouth Regional Library Board for a term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Moved, properly second. Ms. Branch.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
Moved
Second.
and seconded. Ms. Branch.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.